Got it.
Was somebody a sleepy bear? Couldn't wake up this morning?
Yes, I was a sleepy bear.
All right. Well,
can-
ladies
yeah.
and gentlemen, welcome to the Uncovering Anomalies podcast. Joining me, as always, is my wonderful co-host Adam,
Woo! I'm
and I
here.
am Topher? Question mark. And
Hey,
welcome to episode 30.
Yes, we're here. We're in the 30s now. You believe
Yeah,
it?
we finally did it.
I can't believe it. That's a generation.
The
Well, I think
millennials have all grown
consistency is
up
key.
now.
Yeah. And, the show's getting a lot of traction on different platforms, even on our main one, Spotify, where we keep increasing our followers. So we're doing something right there, Topher. I mean,
It's great to see. It definitely is the boost to the ego. You know what I mean?
Absolutely, yeah. And we're really harsh on ourselves. I know, especially in the beginning. I still am. I still have really issues listening to the show. I have to be in a really good mood or a completely different mindset to be okay with listening to the entire thing. But most of the time, like, oh my God, what's wrong with me? Why do I, stuff like
I
that.
know when I listen back, every time I hear myself talk, I'm just going like, what the hell am I saying? Or and like I'm the worst at this is I just can't remember anything I'm trying to talk about. It's so frustrating.
Yeah. Happens with me too, right? I mean, it's not like we're live, and we are recording live, but we're not streaming live to an audience, so it shouldn't be as stressful as that. But apparently, it doesn't matter.
There's some mic anxiety there. I think.
Yeah, mic anxiety. That's exactly what's going on. Well, we have a lot to get to this week. I want
let's
to
talk
start.
about it.
Yeah, I want to start with two that we didn't talk about last week, which were pretty big. Or no, actually, one of them was pretty big. It was, remember, I wrote you, I'm like, oh my God, Ross Coulthard, the journalist,
Mm-hmm.
he talked about this UFO that was so big that they had to build a structure around it.
Yeah, that was some of the craziest shit I think you've ever sent me.
So this was 2 weeks ago. So we didn't cover it last week. Unfortunately, it's just, I guess it bled through the cracks or something. But the same journalist on News Nation who brought us Grush and his testimony also said on a podcast that he claims U.S. hides huge UFO in foreign country because they could not move it. Now, of course, yeah, he won't tell us where it is.
Mm-hmm.
Who told? He's a real journalist, and people need to respect that. That the reason why this guy has sources is because he keeps them secret. Might be annoying to us and the rest of the community that he could just he could help us out by telling everyone where it is. He didn't. He was on,
of course.
He was on the Project Unity channel on July 8th, and he told them this. Now, of course, so since he didn't say anything, the community went ahead and found it apparently on Google Maps. So let's see if we go down here. This article, this guy, never a dull moment in UFO land. Ross Coulthard, the journalist who interviewed whistleblower and intel veteran David Grush, who claims the U.S. has UFOs in its possession, said the U.S. is a UFO so big it could not be moved. And here is a picture of it.
Picture of the location and the
location, facility. Yeah. So its location and how it was constructed. So this guy's saying when he first saw the satellite imagery. Now, just to be quick, it's in South Korea. Here's a picture of it. Apparently, I bet you it's not even it. I'm just we're just reporting here.
Yeah.
What people do when they're not told stuff.
I have a hard time believing. Maybe this, like there's a kernel of truth in here, but building a facility shaped like a UFO is hard to believe for me.
Yeah, I know. It happens to exactly be shaped like it, So this is in South Korea,
right? It's a big circular disc. If anyone is curious,
yeah. And there's cars that can actually drive on top of it because there's cars here.
Is that what that is? Oh,
yeah.
Okay.
I mean, it is huge. And now this guy's saying, he goes, When I saw this structure, I immediately said, I bet you can drive vehicles up there. Sure enough, you can, as seen in the image below. During a crisis, this large flat structure would be an ideal location for anti-aircraft systems. Anyway, they're saying also the CEO's ex-intelligence. Like, why would they put an ex-intelligence guy in Korea as a CEO of this? If it's not someone to be trusted with information, stuff like that. But
we're talking about a UFO that's like in Independence Day.
Yes,
that movie with Will Smith.
Yeah, exactly.
So I guess I didn't read the story well enough because does it say if it's something they found, or it's something that crashed recently and then like within the last 50 years or so?
Oh yeah, this is the last 50 years. So I guess it was kind of like a gift when they do that. It was untouched.
Because there's no way it could have crashed like from outer space. It would have caused it would have been a huge story.
Yeah, and you know what? Actually, now since you're saying that, also Louis Elizondo was caught saying something. Was like, so since say you are doing an archaeological dig in Egypt or something, and you come across a 747 craft, in there, so this coincides with this. So I maybe it was an archaeological dig then, that they found.
Yeah, that's kind of what I'm leaning towards. I mean, I know the 1950s are quite a ways away at this point, but if something crashed, I mean, that would be, on par with like a nuclear bomb going off. Like, that's how big the story would be, I feel like.
Yeah, I mean, it mentions conflicting claims regarding the United States' ability to reverse engineer.
Maybe not, because we did all the when I say we, I mean the U.S. government did all the nuclear testing, and we didn't really know about all of that. So maybe
we didn't, and I think that's why a lot of the crashes happens, because we're blowing stuff up in the atmosphere, and things just start falling from the sky. You know what I mean?
It's still an absolute. If I once again, I think this is one of those things that isn't really true, but there's a kernel of truth in there.
Right.
Yeah. Especially the way they built the facility. I mean, it looks like a big UFO.
Yeah. While a big 270-foot wide round structure atop a mountain certainly is interesting in the context of South Korea, it makes a ton of sense beyond concealing some giant UFO. Hard to hide that basically on the edge of an extremely populous city, regardless. But that's not the point here,
right? That's kind of what I'm saying. I feel like we would, if it's that big, we would know about it.
And another one from last week. I know we're catching up. We mentioned the parts per million thing.
Yeah,
and Massey going after our environment czar about the parts per million. John Kerry saying that it was that it's like at 300, but then there's this commercial of this new company in Europe talks about carbon dioxide enrichment, greenhouse gases 1,000 parts per million. Okay, here, take a listen to the commercial. They actually mixed it up with what Massey said. It's about a minute.
CO2 in greenhouses is very important because we get a better crop, a higher yield, and better quality of the tomatoes.
Additional carbon dioxide needs to be added to increase efficiency and to have the optimal yield.
Let me ask you this. What's the consensus on parts per million of CO2 in the atmosphere?
About 406 today.
Okay, 406. Are you aware?
350 being the level that scientists is dangerous.
Okay, are you aware? 350 is dangerous. Wow. Are you aware that since mammals have walked the planet, the average has been over 1,000 parts per million?
By keeping the carbon dioxide concentration in the greenhouse atmosphere in a range of 600 to 1,000 ppm, the best growth rate can be expected.
CO2 in greenhouses is very important.
What do you think of that? What do you think of that?
Well, first of all, I truly do believe, we're doing a lot of, humans are doing a lot of harm to the planet. I just don't think that we're studying it the right way, and I think this kind of proves that.
Yeah, and exactly, I'm with you there. And whenever they chose carbon, they chose it for a reason, probably because they know it'll just keep going up, scientifically. But when they try to marry it to climate change and stuff like that, it's not true at all.
Yeah,
it's nothing to do with carbon. It's definitely other things, like you said. And
Like
you know.
I still remember the BP oil spill that happened in the what was it, 2009, 2010, around there.
Yeah, it's so sad. Yeah,
And it really is sad. I mean, it's
yeah.
terrible, and they basically just got away with it.
Was
You
it
know,
50
that's
billion, something like that? $50 billion.
yeah,
I remember it was something like that. And I think we helped them, or there was some fund there that it wasn't just them; it was our government also.
yeah. I remember
Stepped in.
when I was 17, I went to Australia, and I got to see the Grand Coral Reef.
Oh, lucky you! You did
Yeah,
that,
and I think it's like all screwed up and stuff now.
dude.
But
That's depressing. Is it?
I don't.
Did you go as snorkeling, or you actually dived?
No, I snorkeled.
Wow.
Funny enough, I guess this is getting a little bit off topic, but I went there for, it was called World Youth Day. It was it's like Catholic. You
Mhm.
get to go see the Pope
Oh,
and
in Australia.
be with Catholics all over the world. And that year it happened to be in Australia, and so that was part of our trip. It was super
Very
cool,
cool.
and it was beautiful, and I've got a lot of fond memories of that trip. But yeah, the coral reef is not doing so great now.
That's really
So I
sad.
mean, we're doing something wrong. I
Yeah,
don't think it's carbon, um, but
dioxide, which
I'm
which
not
is needed for life.
I'm not I'm not that kind of scientist, so I can't speak with any officialness on what I
Right,
think is going
right.
on.
Well, the important thing to
Climate
understand is
science.
that there really is no consensus. And anyway, there shouldn't be a consensus in science because that's politics. You
Yeah,
know, everything is changing. And, we share on our account like the electric universe and how about black holes, that's BS, that every day physics keeps proving that there's no dark matter. There's none of that stuff, and
yeah. I mean, I hate it when people hear the word science and they think it's truth
politics.
and fiction. It's black and white, when that's not the case at all. Science is about um, you know you have a theory and you do tests to prove that theory, but they even say like gravity is not a proven theory. It's just I think I'm misremembering the quote, but you know what I mean.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Definitely know what you mean. I mean,
Gravity is just a theory.
we
I
still
think
don't know if it's a pull or a push either.
yeah.
You know, many people still think it's a push from like the sun.
Interesting.
Yeah.
All right, so what do you
Or
have
some
next
sort.
here?
Yeah. So this, I remember it was crazy. It's UAP Max. It's a online magazine, pretty cool magazine. But I guess this was written by I remember telling you to read it, but wait, yeah, it was written by the editor in chief. So I guess the owner of the magazine. But he says some crazy stuff. I'm trying to remember now. The answer was stop me being scared because there are millions of years ahead of us. Who's saying this?
So what's the article about?
All right, so this guy's saying aliens are here. Biden met them. They are not friendly.
Oh boy.
Okay. Yeah, but where's he getting his stuff from? Because this went pretty viral. Okay, he's saying he spoke to a person. The person I spoke to with is going to come forward, and you'll hear them during the congressional hearing on UAPs in a couple of weeks. Well, we know who those three are. It's David Graves, it's Grush, and who's the third guy?
I don't know
wait.
off the top of my head.
Wait, I have it. Oh,
It's still really cool that this is even happening.
David Fravor, Ryan Graves, David Fravor, and David Grush. Oh, yeah, the hearings? Yeah, it is insane. I mean, there's a lot of news getting to that and what's happening. But I guess oh, here we go. That's right. So now this guy said there are two currently on Earth. He's saying aliens, humans, and Gonzi. Gonzi are from another part of our galaxy. Now I remember this. Directionally speaking, they're within 48 light years. I think he's saying they're interdimensional, right?
I thought this one was saying they're just from another planet.
There are millions of years ahead of us technologically, and stated we would cease to exist without a proper knowledge of how to manipulate. Oh, okay, yeah. So basically, they're creating their craft here, right? We've heard this many times. Leaks. Mm-hmm. That's an AI that's creating the craft per mission. Now, this guy goes ahead farther and says they're not allowed to create technology that's more than 200 years ahead of us. Basically, saying that if we do get it through crashes or whatever, that we're only able to jump ahead 200 years, not anything more than that, because we could destroy the universe or something like that. If we're given the technologies that they have, I guess, in consciousness and interdimensionality and stuff really powerful, right? That they use. Now, if we have it now in our stage, we'll be way too dangerous. So that's what this guy's saying.
That totally tracks.
That makes sense, right?
Yeah.
And that's why it still looks familiar, he says too, because it's still trapped in that era, our era.
Yeah.
Don't fuck with us. As I sit writing this,
that's in the article, by the way.
Yeah. Sorry,
Adam wasn't just saying that. That's in the article.
So it's a great article to go through. Gonzi is pretty cheesy, I think, as a name for them. It's gotta have the Z in there.
Yeah, of course.
It always has the Z, right?
Mm-hmm.
Zorg.
Yeah, honestly, this is another one. I don't really buy it. I think there's a kernel of truth, as in aliens have been on this planet. Yeah. I seriously doubt if they had a name. I don't think it would ever be Gonzi.
It's like Gonzo too, right?
Yeah.
From the Muppets.
Yeah. I just don't think if aliens came to this planet, I don't think they would have a name that we humans could use, because that's what, like aliens from another planet, they don't speak English and all that. And they have different ways of forming words and all that other stuff. Right. And I just don't think it'd be something we could pronounce.
Well,
maybe Gonzi is a close, approximation of
Gonzi porn.
Okay.
I'm sorry. I'm just kidding. I mean, it's too close to Gonzo's. All right. So, there's some final points of conclusions.
Yeah. Lay them on me.
All right. So they are not friendly, but not necessarily malevolent aliens either, unless, of course, you get in their way. Okay.
It goes along with the zookeeper theory.
It does. We know Earth is a waypoint for something bigger. We have never gotten the answers to what that is. Okay. The Gonzi deal with us because they are not here to colonize and apparently have a directive to leave us alone again, unless we mess with their goals. Yeah, it's that 4chan thing again. They create only technology that is used in our oceans, skies, and direct atmosphere that can be created from Earth's elements from technological methods we don't understand. They are able to manipulate matter in ways we cannot. This is big. The Earth itself is important to them, but humanity is not. Let me state that another way. We don't matter, only the Earth. If we are here or not, it does not matter. Though many scientists claim extreme environmental issues are harming the Earth, the Gonzi are able to fix anything we do should they need something out of a particular resource or waypoint or something. We don't know. I kind of believe this, just the way our parasite class behave.
Well, and I've heard, fringe articles, I guess, that talk about this, where Earth is a gas station, but we don't know what the gas is. That's the equivalent that's being drawn.
I bet it's our souls, something like that.
Yeah, I think so. See, the problem is, whether the point you just mentioned, it doesn't matter if humans are here or not.
Good point.
Yeah.
Good.
Anyway, keep going.
They do not like us playing with nuclear power in weaponized form. Take nuclear devastation off the table. Any attempt to use nukes will be met with a total and complete shutdown of human society. The Earth is important. The little bugs on the surface are not. And if we mess with what they are doing, we will cease to exist. We have been warned. More on that in a bit. Now, this goes along with other things that people talk about by previous human civilizations that have all been destroyed, whether natural or not. I think and they are kind of important. Why they keep letting us reset everything?
Yeah, and as we're starting to see, human civilization has gone on a lot longer than modern quote unquote science will tell you.
Right. Yeah.
We've been around a lot longer than people think.
We do not know what they're doing, but they've been doing it for a very long time. The reason they lose probes and even unmanned vehicles is that they are unable to use tech past a couple of 100 years of our possible technological timeline. Dead Gonzi don't matter. The theory is their consciousness is stored and the biological bodies don't matter. All right, I guess this can keep going on. No, this is much longer than I thought. Anyway, we will link this up in the show notes. It's an interesting read. You know, like I agree with the use here that there's just a nugget of truth in there. Maybe
and
not.
as always, listeners, you can find everything that we're talking about on the show in the show notes.
Yes, exactly.
Adam links to all this stuff in there, so it's easy for you to look at what we're talking about.
Yeah, and it's important for us to share with you what we're seeing, so you make up your own conclusions.
Yeah,
we're not saying that we understand. Like our opinions are not. It's not gospel. Is what I'm trying
yeah. Again, going back to the science thing. I know I keep harping on it. We're talking about theories. We're not stating any facts when we're talking about the the UAP phenomenon.
Yeah, and we speculate. Mostly, everyone speculates. That's what happens when things are made secret.
Yeah,
and maybe the secret is the government also speculates too.
Yeah,
what's going on? I mean, you don't want to tell your population like, yeah, we speculate too. We know nothing.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
So this is going on. It's gonna come up a lot. He's shaved. Have you noticed he's shaved?
Yeah, I did. Yeah.
Of course.
I didn't even recognize him at first.
Yeah. So Tom Burchett, he's in charge. Congressman. I think he's. Many people think he's naive because he's playing a part. Whatever. I like him. The guy seems genuine. He knows a lot about this. He'll push too, which is what we need. We need someone to push and really ask these witnesses. Which are it's going to be Ryan Graves, which is the U.S. Air Force guy, David Fravor, which is also the Nimitz guy, right? The Navy pilot, and David Grush. He'll be there too.
You know what I think it is about him? I think it's the accent. He sounds like the stereotypical ignorant Southern guy. I think
exactly.
That's all it is.
They're stereotypical.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know where that stereotype came from.
But series, right? They always make like dumb, like dirt kind of thing.
Yeah, exactly.
It's always Hollywood.
Yeah, I think that's the reason that people don't take it seriously.
Right. Oh, it's a good point. They put him here. Interesting.
Next Wednesday, July 26th at 10 a.m., the House Oversight Committee will hold a hearing on unidentified anomalous phenomena, UAPs. I prefer to call them UFOs. It will be held by the Oversight Committee on National Security, the Border, and Foreign Affairs. Last year, the House Intelligence Committee held a hearing on UAPs. They brought in some Pentagon bureaucrats who only had 2 answers to the questions they were asked. I don't know, or that's classified. This hearing is going to be different. We've had a heck of a lot of pushback about this hearing. We've had members of Congress who fought us. We've had members of the intelligence community and also the Pentagon. Even NASA backed out on us. There are a lot of people who don't want this to come to light. Next Wednesday.
Even NASA backed out on us.
Yeah, shocker.
I know. I mean, weren't they complaining the other day?
Yeah. A couple weeks ago, we watched that video of the woman. I think she was from NASA, saying that they were getting online hate, and that was what basically the whole presentation was about.
Boo-hoo.
Yeah,
poor thing. Very sad in her position of power and influence.
Yeah,
and
exactly.
us, the ones who pay her salary, are asking her to do a better job. How dare we?
Yeah, right.
Here's some.
You sent me this. This is ridiculous. I don't buy a second of what this guy says.
Anything that gives trust the plan, white hats are in charge, QAnon stuff, I run away fast. And I can't. And it's always the one that looks like him. I'm sorry to say this, it's like a deer in a headlight look. They're always like, they're, I don't know.
He looks like Mark Zuckerberg to me.
He does look like Mark Zuckerberg. You're right. Yeah. But that look that like I'm so naive, that's what hope does. Hope is a very great thing. But without hope, many people will be dead, including me.
Yeah.
Hope gives people just, motivation to keep going. And it's a very powerful I guess not.
So I
drug
don't want to really give this guy the time of day, but can you sum up this video real quick?
All right, he's basically saying from his sources, right, that special forces, like again, quote unquote, white hats in the government, intend to take possession of alien bodies and craft by force this September, and is on Reddit, of course. This guy goes, this commenter, those guys are playing 4D chess, announcing their plan, then executing it exactly as announced. The last thing to expect, brilliant move, check and mate.
Yeah, he's basically giving a heads up as to what special forces are doing, which is not what special forces does.
Never, yeah, exactly.
At all, which is why I don't buy this video one bit.
Yeah, and just because white hats are not in charge, people. Okay, there's
No.
not. I'm sorry to tell you, the government is no one. There might be like a small amount of people in there that want to help, but they can't. Their hands are tied. There's too many laws, too much bureaucracy, too much pushback with people around them that they're just not going to help.
Yeah,
we have to do it ourselves. Oh, here's one. Now it's a longer clip, and it's on GBN, which is a pretty mainstream news source in England, in London, England. I mean, UK.
Mm-hmm.
But I stopped it here because I believe this is seriously one of the reasons, or a big reason why they don't tell us the truth. Now, you can tell by her body language, she's very uncomfortable. They both told her, this guy's a UFO expert. He's an anchor with her. The guy in the middle is an anchor with her. And they're discussing basically this new hearing that's coming up, right? And how the U.S. is open to this and all these whistleblowers. So this guy just got done telling her, the history of this and that it's not new.
The UFO expert.
The UFO expert. So now she's going to respond, and you can just tell by her face how she's going to respond.
I can see just by her body language. Yeah, let's give this a listen. Give this a listen.
I just think it all sounds a bit loopy, and I wait to see facts. And
just
I'm very much
sounds loopy, though. That's
Look,
not good
I'm not ruling
enough,
anything out, but I deal in facts. So as soon as you can give me some evidence, I'd be very interested to see it. But,
and it's not new. Can I just throw that in? This isn't a new thing. Some people think it's a 20th century thing. The earliest records on Earth, the Sanskrit records, the Bible, many other legends are just full of extraterrestrial, I would say, but certainly UFOs, which have been sighted. And they are friendly. I just had to finish with that. If they weren't, we'd know it.
Would agree the Bible's full of UFO sightings.
Yes, of course it
is.
Of course it is. The Star of Bethlehem for a star.
Exactly.
Not a star, is it?
So you term a star a UFO.
It's not a star, is it? Stars can't hover over a stable.
But when did it ever appear again?
It hovered over a stable.
It hovered over a stable, it disappeared, it never came back again.
The stars disappear. Newsflash.
They don't.
Yes, they do.
They don't.
Well, then Ezekiel. I mean, there's plenty, but you look at the Sanskrit, it's better.
Yeah.
The Hindu scripts,
the burning bush,
the bananas.
Yes, but that was God. That was miracles.
Or it was an alien.
Could be both.
Could be both. Richard.
So
there it is.
I feel like she's kind of part of the what do I want to say, like the old crowd that just refuses to believe in UFOs and stuff like that. And,
but we'll believe in the Bible.
But I don't want to say I get I guess I do. I get where she's coming from, because we've said this on the show before. Is until I'm shaking hands with an alien or hanging out on one of their crafts, I'm not going to fully, commit to this.
Right. But shouldn't that apply then? Because she believes in the Bible and the stories of the Bible, right? Which is fine, totally.
Yeah.
Right? Billions of us do. But then she's not willing to believe that in aliens or non-human intelligence, which angels are. They're non-human intelligence.
Yeah.
If you term them that way. Right?
Well, yeah. I mean, so what I meant with like the old view of the world, I mean, you have to have a little bit of an open mind, and certain people, typically they're older, just refuse to even acknowledge the fact that something like this could exist. And that thankfully, I think that's starting to phase out.
Yeah, I think so too, because I had arguments lately on another account of mine, which is pretty big on Twitter. But I just got sick of the whole Abrahamic thing and like the whole chosenness thing and like how it's affecting our politics. And I said that, let's have UFO disclosure and just get rid of the Abrahamic religions. It was very extreme to say that, right? But I was upset. And, the conversations I was having was basically like, why does it just have to be those religions? You know, it doesn't mean there's no God or no creator just because we get rid of the Abrahamic religions or change them or whatever it is.
Yeah.
You know, and that's still my attitude. I'm still open about that. It doesn't. I mean, yeah.
Yeah.
Rabbit hole with that.
You know, I mean, we've kind of touched on this. I mean, I think our belief in God is a little bit different than other people's. It doesn't rule out any, you know, a creator entirely. It's just a different understanding of it.
Yeah, exactly. Different understanding of
a different belief in it.
Yeah, and right, exactly. And I think because in the Bible, or at least in the Torah, there's Yahweh, right, which seems like a person if you really look into it. Or not a person, but like, you know, not the creator of the universe kind of thing, you know, like just like an alien basically.
Yeah.
But speaking about that,
what you got here?
Well, this works out well because the Vatican, if you remember, told us about this one. A researcher says the first UFO crashed in Italy, 1933, and he has evidence. So this is the one that was actually leaked to our government by the Vatican to come pick it up. Grush first brought it up in his interview. But to sum it up, an Italian researcher claims to have proof that backs up recent allegations that a crashed UFO was recovered in Italy in 1933. It adds to a growing interest in UAPs that now include elected officials and a NASA panel. Italian ufologist Roberto Pinotti says that fascist dictator Benito Mussolini got his hands on a flying saucer after a crash on June 13, 1933.
I mean, obviously, we weren't alive in the 1930s, but could you imagine being like, because it was a very formal society. Can you imagine being one of the people in charge of, like, you got a very formal society. We're about to enter World War II.
Yeah.
And finding something that's just so bizarre and out of this world. I can't even imagine what the thought process was like of those people who found that.
Yeah, well, and they were saying that they were they said they thought they were Germans, basically. These beings, they said that they were tall, blue-eyed, blonde.
That's what I'm talking about. The formal society. Anyone who looks different from them is just from another country.
Right, exactly, another country. So this guy says, I and my colleague Alfredo Licino began investigating the story of the 1933 UFO crash in Lombardy in 1996 when we received some original secret documents about the case. So then they talk about Grush, about the cover-up. Where are those images? Oh,
I think they were at the top.
Oh, is he the ones? He has evidence. It's not really. I thought there was other stuff that he got. Well, anyway, but you know, this story, every single day there's something about this story that comes out.
Yeah.
I think we shared in another episode actually, with some, was it maybe 2 or 3 episodes ago, we did share something from Italy and documents too about this crash. Anyway, it's a crazy thing. It's maybe why there's Lamborghini and Ferrari out of that country. You know, it's got to be alien tech, or at least their mindset's different. Yes, influence. The mindset alone. If you're witness to this, or your father is, or grandfather is, it trickles down, and I don't know. You just get more. There's more possibilities.
Definitely.
Yeah, I don't think it's.
You get to think outside your mind a little bit, like think of things, differently.
Yeah, out of the box. I'm sure you saw this one. This is Kirby, White House on UFOs. Now, the press again is like, "Oh, so you guys are taking this seriously?" And this is what he's answering. Like, the press are still being idiots.
Well, of course, that's their job.
So he's 37 seconds. He's answering a question of the press saying, "Are you guys still really taking UFOs seriously?"
Yeah, let's give it a listen.
Some of these phenomena we know have already had an impact on our training ranges. For when pilots are out trying to do training in the air and they see these things, they're not sure what they are, and it can have an impact on their ability to perfect their skills. So it already had an impact here, and we just want to better understand it. Now, we're not saying what they are or what they're not. We're saying that there's something our pilots are seeing. We're saying it has had an effect on some of our training operations, and so we want to get to the bottom of it. We want to understand it better. So Yes.
Yes, we're taking it seriously. I mean, instead of them being happy about it, you know, I don't know. Maybe
they're stuck in the old ways, man. That's what I'm saying. There's just,
yeah.
especially the people, the press. I don't know what. Well, I kind of know what their deal is, but you know, they're stuck. You know, in believing what they believe. They have no capabilities to open their mind and think that they might be wrong about something.
And maybe that's why they land, and that's why they crash, and that's because it zaps people out of that.
Yeah,
mindset.
I think so. I think I read this. It was like a comment on Twitter or Reddit, but it was just saying like why believers don't ever see UFOs, and it's always like the backwoods people that have experiences.
Yeah.
And the theory was, well, why would they waste their time convincing people who already believe?
Yeah.
You know, they're going after people who don't believe.
Yeah, that's a good point. That's a good point. I mean, it's more efficient that way too.
Yeah, definitely. Oh, this article, this video, absolutely terrifying.
It is a long video.
I kind of want to play the whole thing. I know it's
okay,
3 minutes, but it's really good for our listeners, I think.
All right, let's do it. Oh wait, as an intro, it says AI turns.
Oh right, we should. We got to get better about that. I was listening to previous episodes, and I was like, we never explain what article or video we're
because we're looking at this. That's why.
Yeah, right. So yeah, that's the title of this video. AI turns Wi-Fi into a camera.
Now, there's other scary stuff in here, which is that encapsulates some of what's going on here. But yeah, let's take a listen.
How about this? Can we go from the patterns of your brain when you're looking at an image to reconstructing the image? So the way this worked was they put human beings inside an fMRI machine. They had them look at images and figure out what the patterns are, like translate from image to brain patterns. And then, of course, they would hide the image. So this is a image of a giraffe that the computer has never seen. It's only looking at the fMRI data, and this is what the computer thinks the human is seeing. Yeah. Now, to get state of the art, here's where the combinatorial aspects, why you can start to see these are all the same demo. To do this kind of imaging.
Sorry, just to stop for the audience. It was shown, the picture that was really shown was a giraffe, right? Looking different though. And the AI did not see that. The AI just saw the MRI images, and then it had an image of a baby giraffe. So close enough.
Yeah.
The latest paper, the one that happened even after this, which is already better, uses stable diffusion, uses the thing that you use to make art. Like, what should a thing that you use to make art have anything to do with reading your brain? But of course, it goes further. So in this one, they said, can they understand the inner monologue, the things you're saying to yourself in your own mind? Mind you, by the way, when you dream, like your visual cortex runs in reverse, so your dreams are no longer safe. But we'll try this. So they had people watch a video and just narrate what was going on in the video in their mind. So there's a woman, she gets hit in the back, she falls over. This is what the computer reconstructed the person thinking. See a girl, looks just like me, get hit in the back, and then she is knocked off. So our thoughts are starting to be decoded. Just think about what this means for authoritarian states, for instance. Or if you want to generate images that maximally activate your pleasure sensor, anything else. Okay, but let's keep going, right? To really get the sense of the combinatorics of this. How about, can we go from Wi-Fi radio signals, sort of like the Wi-Fi routers in your house, they're bouncing off radio signals that work sort of like sonar. Can you go from that to where human beings are to images? So what they did is they had, a camera looking at a space with people in it. That's sort of like coming in from one eye. The other eye is the radio signals, so sonar from the Wi-Fi router. And they just learned to predict, this is where the human beings are. Then they took away the camera. So all the AI had was the language of radio signals bouncing around a room. And this is what they're able to reconstruct. Real-time 3D pose estimation, right? So suddenly AI has turned every Wi-Fi router into a camera that can work in the dark, specially tuned for tracking living beings.
Yeah, you can hear how upset the crowd is. I mean, that. Sorry to play the whole clip, but you needed the listener. You needed context for what was going on.
Yeah,
I mean, it is absolutely terrifying stuff, and this is the future that we're, pushing towards.
And it's given to us now, so they've had it for 30 years, 20
yeah,
years,
exactly.
It is, and we bring it back on this show, especially when it comes to like telepathy. This phenomenon has always been about telepathy.
Yeah,
whether they've had devices with them or whether they can do it naturally. Telepathy, I guess, is the best way to converse, or maybe that's why their societies are more peaceful. I mean, I don't know. I mean, if we can all read each other's minds, would it be a much better place?
Not my mind.
No, but I mean, it would change the way you think too, right? If you really know,
there'd be a lot more empathy. Is what you're trying to say.
Yeah, exactly.
I think at the end of the day, this and every subject we've broached on something similar to this, it's all about the government controlling your mind.
Yeah, that's the ultimate goal.
That's the ultimate goal.
That's what government means, right? In Latin, it means literally government in Latin means to control the mind.
I mean, and that's all they want to do. They want to tell you how to vote. They want to tell you what to buy. Yeah, I mean, they could control society with stuff like this.
No, yeah, and then the corporations that tell you what to buy,
right.
how much to buy of it.
Corporations who are working with the government, by the way.
Yeah, of course, exactly. I mean, we know since COVID that how bad our agencies have been captured. Yeah, and they're captured. And then I would even take it a step further and say it's the UFO seeker that started all this. That started that corruption, because it really was the first time where government. Not first time, maybe nukes was the first time, but really where they started becoming criminals together was when they started covering up the UFO crash retrieval programs and these things, because the government would give them to corporations, and the corporations would then back engineering or whatever, understand whatever they could from it, and then seed it back into society with patents and make fortunes, but then only use them to control the society, not to free it.
Yep, exactly.
Right? I mean, all these technologies they freed us, okay, a little bit. Yes, they have. Look, we're on devices acting like studios, broadcast studios, right? Getting our opinion out there to many people. I mean, so there are pluses. It's not all negative.
Yeah, I mean, look how much power is contained in a 3x4 cell phone at this point.
It's crazy. It's
crazy.
Every year it gets stronger.
Yeah. All right. So what do you got here?
This one, so it's a post, it's a Reddit post, and he does go through many things, and it might not be for you and I, but it might be for some of our listeners to go through it, because he goes through the MJ12 documents. He really starts with Schumer, though, and the reason why, and Schumer is our majority Senate speaker, right, or Speaker of the Senate, called. He's very powerful. He's been in government for a very long time. He's a senator. He now explicitly has, or this last week at least, has put in language to change the law, and he's using the JFK Assassination Act. If you remember that in the 90s, after the movie JFK, the people were in an uproar. They wanted to know more about it. So the Senate acted, and it's not like it worked. I mean, every president since Trump, because Trump didn't release it, he goes, if you knew what was in there, you would not release it. So he delayed it to Biden, and Biden now permanently closed it off, even though it's a law. Anyway.
Unreal.
Yeah. Anyway,
we give these people way too much power.
So Schumer now he's copying that act. So legislation is necessary because credible evidence and testimony indicate that the U.S. government UAP records exist that have not been declassified or subject to Atomic Energy Act of 1954. Dulles to JFK in 1961. Can't tell you about MJ12 because of Atomic Energy Act of 1954. So basically, this guy goes through the MJ12 documents, which is really cool. Some really cool memos to JFK from the head of intelligence. Oh, did you watch Oppenheimer yet?
I have not seen it yet. No,
dude, it's so cool. There's nothing about UFOs in there, but he does.
I told you there wasn't going to be.
No, but he does hints. There's some little hints in there. I don't want to ruin it for it, but there's some hints in there. Like, of course, Groves is in there. Vanover Bush is in there. You know, the head of the MJ-12.
Oh man,
yeah,
that's cool.
Those characters are in there, but they could have touched a little bit about it because New Mexico is a big part of it.
It's still too new, the UFO stuff.
Yeah, and I think he was busy trying to say commies are good people. You know, that's what he was.
Is that what the movie's about?
Pretty much. I mean, in my opinion. Sorry, I mean, I could be wrong.
You know, it's Hollywood. That's what they're going to do, and that's why, you know, they keep failing with every big blockbuster they come out with.
It's like they don't care. It's like they don't care.
No, they're just idiots.
So just to pivot quickly, another Reddit thing. This guy goes, I don't think this is coincidental. So, and we talk about the National Security Act a lot, but apparently the National Security Act of 1947, he goes, look at the date this bill was enacted. I'll save you the link clinking by saying this: July 26, 1947.
Oh, hey, what happened then? Tell us.
What is happening exactly 75 plus years later, July 26, 2023, the Congressional Hearing on UAP.
1947 was the year of the Roswell crash, people.
Yes, exactly.
Just FYI.
That was early July. That was July 7th, I think, or July 6th. And we've always said on the show that the National Security Act of 1947 was passed quickly after Roswell to keep this a secret. And now this guy found out that our congressional hearing on UAP is on July 26th, 2023. It's just insane. Coincidence? I don't know. I don't know.
You know, I see this sentiment a lot on the conspiracy subreddit, that the people in charge screw with us on purpose.
Yeah.
You know, and it's stuff like that. Because I always thought that was like, you know, they're just evil people, but
right.
It's like another level of evil to be doing stuff like this. What I'm trying to say is I'm starting to believe that sentiment that they do it on purpose to mess with us.
Yeah, and it makes sense, right? I mean, especially if you hold these positions of power, and you know, you can influence people. Why not do it the right way? You know, and the best way to do it is to like mess with dates, you know, because you have that power to not mess with dates, but make sure the dates line up because they know that's what we look for. You know, it's like when the stars align, that kind of thing.
Yeah, it's always about numbers. You know,
it is about numbers.
Like not to get, you know, too.
It is though
down the rabbit hole, like 9/11.
Yep. JFK.
Right. Yeah, I mean, it's ridiculous.
And those people who analyze numbers, especially with these events, say that whoever's doing it is communicating with each other. Like, don't worry, we did it. You know, that the people at the top or these small groups, because they can understand this too and read into this the same way and say, oh, okay, so it was us that did it. All right, nothing really to worry about. No need to go to war, right?
Yeah. Well, look, not to bring it back to 9/11, but just so listeners know, if you don't know, I mean, if you're listening to this, I'm sure you do know, most of the quote unquote hijackers were from Saudi Arabia.
Yeah, 19, 18 or 17 of them. Yeah.
Yeah, and we never went there.
No.
To go find the terrorists that did this.
No, we went to Afghanistan.
Yeah.
And then Iraq.
Yeah.
And Syria, and then Sudan, or wait, Libya. That's right, Libya.
Yeah, almost forgot about that one.
I know, right? The whole thing is a mess.
It really is.
We could go down that one. We should do a 9/11 show. That'd be fun.
I think we talked about doing that.
We should do it.
Like right when 9/11, September 11th rolls around.
Around that week, we should definitely do it.
Yeah, I'm down.
What's this? This is more Schumer stuff. Of course, the media loves Schumer. You know, I'm glad he's behind this now. A lot of people are saying that there must be something very serious coming, or that he knows something really, because he wouldn't be doing this. It's not, you know, something's lighting this fire in him, to do this.
Yeah, it's like they're designing this to be a big deal just to cover up something else that's going to come out.
Yeah, see, according to the legislation, non-human intelligence, right, in quotations, is defined as any sentient, intelligent, non-human life form, regardless of nature or ultimate origin, which may be presumed responsible for UFOs. That language is powerful. It doesn't give anyone an out, not even interdimensional, nothing.
Yeah, we'll see. I have no faith in our government to tell us the truth. So
yeah, was it last week or was it this week's or is it Schumer's also that talks about national? No, that was last week's. Brichette is national security. I mean, that's all they've been using.
Yeah,
it's national security. But this is a great article from The Hill. It goes into it.
So I've got a question for you, real quick.
Yeah.
Obviously, you know the UAP stuff is big news in the media in the U.S.
Yeah.
Why aren't the other governments not coming out and joining this, like news, big news topic?
I guess they must be waiting for the U.S. because I think they always do this. They wait for the U.S. to take action. If the U.S. whatever action the U.S. takes, they take also, because this really is a global government. I know we talk about global government is evil. I mean, this is it. This empire is the global government. I mean, so yeah, I think they're waiting because France has released stuff before.
They want to see what we do first.
Yeah, I mean, the Dutch have covered this, right, in their mainstream media. We saw that. I think the French have covered this also. Definitely the UK, Australia for sure. I haven't seen anything from New Zealand or
Aussies.
Yeah, I mean, Russia's done it in their own way too. None of them though have blamed the U.S. of covering this up.
I still remember that story that got absolutely buried. Russia had shot down a UFO.
Oh yeah, in Ukraine.
Yeah, and nothing ever came of that. So I guess I agree with what you're saying.
There is, I did send you the press release in its entirety, and we will share it here. But it's a long clip, and it really is good. I really want our listeners to listen to it. But someone took some choice cuts from the UAP hearing press conference.
Yeah, let's read through some of these.
Yeah, so Brichette, he goes, that's really what's happening here. We're interested in the why. Why are they doing this? Why won't they tell the American people? Yes, it's a national security issue. Of course it is. Can't we tell the American people that it isn't China? It isn't Russia? And if it is, then that's even more questionable. Why aren't they telling the American people? Are we okay with the federal government keeping information from the American people because they're trying to prevent us from having anxiety and all sorts of issues? If they cannot do it here, what else are we going to give them authority to not tell the American people? Because they're interested in controlling and keeping us in a bubble. The idea that the human brain can't tolerate that there might be life somewhere else, I just don't accept that. So Brichette says that. Muskowitz from Florida, Democrat, says, oh, and by the way, this is like one of the only bipartisan issues in our government where they both agree on, right?
Yeah, I love to see that. That's what Republicans and Democrats agree on.
Yeah. So decorated veterans, these people, why would they risk their reputations and careers over something that they're lying about? It's too big right now. And I don't believe they can keep their thumb in the dam too much longer because people are coming forward at too rapid of a rate. Luna, she says, ultimately, what ended up happening is we had to call House Armed Services. Chairman Rogers got involved. The Pentagon got involved. The Department of Air Force got involved, and we actually got into an argument with the general of that base, the general of Eglin Air Force Base. And it's important to note that we were there simply to follow up on the whistleblowers that came forward with information. And so, if the Department of the Air Force, if the Pentagon thinks that they're above Congress, that they have something else coming to them, they have something else coming to them. We told them we are going to do this UAP hearing if they continue to hide information. Whoa, there's a real fight going on. I don't care what other people say.
Yeah.
These fake fights. This is a real fight happening.
I mean, this is something we've touched on in previous episodes, but it really does feel like there's some sort of schism happening in government right now, where people want this to get out, and other people don't want this to get out. And
I mean, do you think that these? Because I don't trust politicians, I just don't. I mean, do you think they're after like more money? Like, all right, you want to shut us up, give us more money or something like that? I mean,
it's gotta be something like that. I mean, yeah, I mean, we've mentioned this about how little we trust government.
Yeah.
You know, and there's no real good guys. So yeah, there's got to be some ulterior motive. I can't possibly figure out what it would be.
It's so weird. Who's this Burchett again? I don't want to read him again. We know what he says. Who's this guy? Burleson, Republican, also from Missouri. It was really hard for Burchett to get this UAP hearing scheduled. It was hard for Congresswoman Luna to get it scheduled. It was hard to get a room. It was hard to get staff on board. It was hard to get approval. Every single step that they had to go through to make this hearing happen next week, the witnesses, they were stonewalled, and they had to push and push and push. Again, if there's nothing to talk about, why was it so difficult? So, you know, we have a lot of Congress people.
There's got to be something there, because they're making it so difficult, you know, for people to get information. So there's got to be something there.
Yeah, and here's the whole thing. It's 23 minutes. Please, listeners, we're going to link it. Listen to it. Hear what these people have to say who are trying to set up this historic hearing.
Yeah,
you know, about this thing.
It's ridiculous.
It is ridiculous.
The amount of hoops they had to jump through, and like the roadblocks they encountered, just absurd.
I know, and I'm glad that I'm glad that it's U.S. officers, Air Force officers are coming in, and it's Grush, who's intelligence officer. Most of the American public hasn't heard about this. You know, I mean, us and our listeners, and you know, many, probably hundreds of thousands or maybe millions, have heard the Grush story and his interview on News Nation, but not the rest of the public. So these hearings are going to be huge.
Yeah, well, I sure hope so.
That's Wednesday, by the way.
That's my worry, is that everyone is so apathetic about everything nowadays that they just won't care. And that's the complete opposite reaction, you know, they should have.
And it's too bad. I even had people, you know, share with me Green Street and Mick West, and him saying it's only 5 people who've convinced the entire Congress and that this is real. I mean, stop. Please stop. Yeah. I mean, it's just as bad as Flat Earth. It really is.
Yeah, no kidding. All right, so what do you got here for me?
I don't know if you sent me this. Yeah, I think you did. U.S. allegedly recovered UFO capable of warping space-time, claims emerge, and there's a movie coming out on this. But guess who's doing it? I always mess up his name. Neil Blank.
Blankenkampf?
Yes. So he's doing a movie on this.
District 9 is like one of my favorite movies.
Me too. I love that movie.
Yeah.
Like so much. That one, and even when he did Elysium, that's a perfect breakaway civilization movie.
Yeah, no, Elysium, I know it didn't get the rave reviews that District 9 did, but it's still such a good movie.
District 9 was so good, huh?
Oh my God. Yeah, no, it's absolutely fantastic.
Everything about it. Yeah.
And because you know what I think it is, and why you and I both love it, is that it's like secretly anti-government.
Oh yeah, exactly. Because they're hiding it too, right?
Yeah.
And they're abusing both humans and the aliens.
Yes. Yeah. Oh man.
Typical.
We could have a whole episode on District 9. I love that movie.
Yeah, that'd be really good actually, because there's so many elements in there.
Yeah.
So you know, there are Grush came out talking about when Grush came out, another guy came out saying, if you remember this craft, they were saying it was only 300 feet. No, wait, or was it less? But then he goes in there and it was 2 football fields.
Yeah. That goes along with my interdimensional theory that we'll talk about on our philosophical podcast.
Okay, and definitely this is interdimensional, because it's like a window in this dimension, because once you enter the portal, you're in the other dimension, which is much larger than this one, you know. But it's cool that they're making a movie about it. This comes from, I think it comes from a Reddit post actually. The guy saw this, he looked it up and saw that a movie's being made about it.
So basically this person saw like a normal UFO. They were I'm assuming they were taken inside, And it was,
well, here I can read. He goes, a UFO. Okay, speaking to Daily Mail, Sheehan described a purported recovery operation of a saucer about 30 feet in diameter, partially lodged in the earth. The craft exhibited astounding characteristics. According to Sheehan, a bulldozer was attempted to extricate it, and it assumed a cake slice shape, suggestive of its construction, Sheehan claimed. They immediately halted the extraction after it was dislodged a few meters to preserve the machinery's integrity, he continued. As per Sheehan, someone was directed to enter the craft, leading to an enormous surprise. Upon entering, the man discovered an interior as vast as a football stadium. Sorry, one football stadium. The man was petrified and began to feel unwell due to the disorienting enormity of the interior, despite the craft's external diameter not exceeding 10 meters, he added. Sheehan further claimed that time, not just space, was distorted around the craft. The man exited the ship 4 hours later, although to him only minutes had passed.
Very, very common among UFO abductees. One of my favorite stories is the Betty Andreessen abduction. It's funny. I was on vacation. I was reading the book, and I explained it to my mom. And she just goes, "Oh, she's probably on drugs." And I'm like, "This is a super Christian woman, mother of, I think it's 5 kids. I have a hard time believing she'd be on drugs." But it was the same kind of thing where she walked on the craft. She didn't ever say it was bigger, but it was a normal UFO craft. But she was, she visited way too many places on the craft for it to be, that size. And she even it's in the book actually. It's called the Andreessen Affair. I'm looking at it right now on my shelf.
That sounds familiar.
It's good. It gets kind of weird. I mean, she sees a sphinx and a phoenix. There's a whole thing. It doesn't really matter. I'm just trying to say it's very common among abductees to witness a room inside that's larger than what they witness on the outside.
I've dreamt stuff like that too, or even or right before going to sleep. Just my perception becomes like something like that too.
Yeah.
So I can see how we can tap into these things and how technology can help. Do it.
Yeah, I'm excited about talking about this one.
All right, so
he's back, baby.
He's back. Yes, it's Skinny Bob, people, and I sent this to Topher because I knew he would love it. So apparently, this Skinny Bob video released by Ivan, but without the old-time grainy overlay that was used to debunk it. Where did this original film come from? So
I still don't buy it. But the footage is way better without that old-timey filter.
It is. But I mean, even this was used to debunk it too. It wasn't just that was used to debunk it. There was many things.
Yeah.
Done so well. I love how his fingernails are black.
Yeah. So it's footage of Skinny Bob, and anyone who's a loyal listener has probably seen the footage before. But this is new footage, not new. It's footage of Skinny Bob, but it doesn't have that stupid old-timey filter over it. It is compelling footage.
It's still nice.
But I still think, this is based on a true story kind of video.
And this account also, right, exactly. That's what our conclusion was. That's still based on a true story. But this account is known to share fake stuff. Was another one that it shared the other day. I had to comment on because it was a video, but they had multiple ISS audio on there. I'm like, why would you do that?
Yeah.
Of course, someone underneath is like, because it's fake.
Yeah, of course.
But still, fake or not, some accounts might get it right once or twice.
It's still cool footage. Oh, is this the thing I sent you from 4chan?
Yeah.
This is so dumb. It's awesome.
Yeah, I know what you mean. So 4chan theory. So it's just
I'll read it.
Go ahead.
All right. The 2030 agenda or alien agenda, 2 names for the same thing, will finally settle down given a coup de grace never before seen by our species. It is a massive abduction event of biblical proportions. They will simulate that we have been invaded by a hostile species that was allegedly attracted by a quote-unquote minor, although not too much, nuclear event product of the manufactured Russia-Ukraine war. Here, there we go. The Vax is a marker and a powerful electromagnetic receiver that will literally push the implanted onto ships, while those sorry, this is too ridiculous. While those hideous antennas, they turn the environment into a verifiable 5G microwave oven, causing endless hordes of quote-unquote vaccinated to be quote-unquote abducted en masse, while setting the so dumb. Setting the story throughout the MSM, mainstream media, as an invasion never seen before in known history, causing the rapid disappearance of all the Vax cattle.
Yeah.
This event will cause the immediate cessation of the Russia-Ukraine design war, where the UN immediately calls to form a world army to forget our borders, since precisely, quote-unquote, that the contested between two countries was what caught the attention of the invaders, and that we should all unite against them. In the last sentence, the NWO, the New World Order, is born.
For the 50th time. But you know, he's right. I mean, not right completely, but I mean, like this is where. Yeah, I was gonna say this is where COVID has got a lot of people. You know,
yeah,
especially when you start mixing it with the alien and UFO cover up and disclosure. You know, COVID was horrible.
It really was. It screwed up so many people's lives and changed the mental state of so many people.
And where they were thinking they were going with this, you know, with the vaccine mandates and the vaccine cards and just CBDCs and everything.
They were just getting us abducted. According to this post.
Exactly. So, but again, good stuff from 4chan.
I'm so glad you shared that. I didn't think that was going to make it into the show.
Oh yes,
I sent that to you as a laugh.
It's a great one. This one, I haven't used Tor in a long time, but it does. Every time when I used to go in there's always UFO stuff. But this guy, Anonymous. Okay, so since we aren't getting anything valid with the Onion share, nothing is being leaked. We are going to open this up up further to people with pictures of videos of UAPs, UFOs. You must use the Tor browser to connect to the file share. So the offer to whistleblowers still stand, but we also want to reach out to the public too. We want you to remain as anonymous as possible, so please use the Tor browser. So I might actually touch up on my Tor browser skills again, just to look at these, because, you know, on Tor, and it was created by the CIA, of course, that whole network, you are 100% protected and anonymous. You know, so I'm interested to see what kind of images or videos are going to be up here.
I was really interested in Tor back in college, but all I remember is Silk Road. I think
Silk Road. Yeah, that's why I did it.
Not buying drugs,
by another one that came up. Yeah, it was mostly for drugs. Yes.
Yeah.
And they all used USPS.
Of course.
Yeah, which is I shouldn't have said that, but whatever. I mean, I don't think USPS cares. They know. Apparently, they know, and it's just a big part of their revenue stream that they don't really care too much.
So I think. Oh no! Wait, I'm thinking of UPS. I think UPS is going on strike. And then FedEx is as well. It was a thing at work we were talking about.
Oh,
we won't be able to ship anything, and we're trying to figure out a way around it.
Well, it's always USPS.
Yeah, I guess so.
Finally, you sent me this.
This is great footage. This is really interesting.
I think I agree with you though. What you think it is? So this is just 39 seconds.
Basically, it's a metal sphere that someone is filming from far away, and it's floating, and it changes colors, and you can see that it's spinning. It's kind of hard to explain. You'll have to watch it.
Yeah, it is. Oh, yeah, it's slowly spinning. It changed colors. It went from blue, now it's green, now it's now it's red.
Yeah, I was gonna say it goes red. It's really interesting footage.
That is not a balloon.
You know, I went back and forth on that because I sent that to you and I said, "Oh, it's a balloon," and I was being serious, but also kind of sarcastic.
Now it's green.
And
Whoa,
then-
what's that?
And then it just
Is it gone?
disappears. Yeah.
What? Why didn't you keep filming? That's really annoying.
Well, no,
it
the
went
thing goes into the trees.
Oh, it went into. It was descending.
Yeah, I mean it's really cool footage, but again, it goes along with something we're seeing a lot lately, which is metal spheres in the sky. I think us and Kay talked about this.
Yeah, she brought up that as an author who's just obsessed with this. He's a scientist, and that's all he talks about is these orbs, and he thinks they're part of like some planetary thing to protect the planet and nature, and he's gone a long way.
Yeah, it's filmed from a long distance. They zoom in, but obviously from that distance the footage isn't great. But it is really interesting. It's just more UFO footage that you and I love to look at.
Yeah, and I love that it's over the jungle and it is descending. It's very far away. It's quiet. It's slow. It's hovering. There's no propulsion. It looks like, or at least propulsion.
I mean, oddly, it's similar to the thing that you and I saw. Well, our whole family saw.
Right. Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
It's floating slowly. It's changing shapes. Just acting not like a real balloon. Just acting different and weird.
Yeah, I just love how it goes down into the wilderness.
It goes into the jungle. Yeah.
There it goes. Bye. Sick. That was a good one. I love that one.
Oh, it's from a few years ago, from December 2020.
Yeah. 2020.
Yeah, this was filmed in Mexico.
Well, that concludes everything there, cuz.
Man, we got through it all, huh?
We did, and we're always hitting this mark, around the 1 hour 15 mark, which is not too bad, right? It's not too long.
No. I don't even think there's anything I need to cut out this episode.
All right, awesome. I mean, the hearing is in 3 days, Wednesday. I mean, I don't know.
Well, of course. I mean, if we're recording this on a Sunday, everything that's cool that's going to happen is going to happen within the next couple of days. That's always how it works.
Yeah, exactly. I wish we can, live stream it and have and just talk about what's going on, live with everyone. But fortunately, it's on a weekday. We both work.
Yeah.
And I'm sure it's going to be in the daytime, morning or noon or something. But it's going to be great. I mean, even if I'm working, it's going to be on. I'll have it on the side, listening to it while I'm working.
Yeah, I'll have it going on my phone. Well, of course,
Nice.
on my phone, turned face down, so no one can see what I'm.
Of course,
listening
yeah.
to.
Have your headphones in, right?
Yeah, oh yeah, of course.
Well,
I have half a mind to leave it on full blast so everyone can hear what I'm listening to, but
oh yeah, does anyone at work not know about this podcast, but know about your interest?
Oh God, no.
Just like me. No way. No,
I haven't. No. I was actually. It's funny. A few weeks ago, I was talking about Grant, the last podcast we did.
Yeah, got it.
Yeah, and just because they know I do voice acting on the side sometimes, and I had mentioned that I had done a podcast, and I was talking about that one. But I would never mention. No offense. I just
I know. Yeah. Same. I mean, it's just unless our listeners support us in such a way where we can, if we're comfortable enough and we're making money and living, and we're like, oh, all right, well, this is me.
If this podcast got huge, and I was able to do it as a full-time job, I would tell everyone what podcast it was and give them the finger as I quit.
Exactly. Yeah. Same here. So, we do have a support link, dear listeners. So, even $1 a month, that's less than you spend at Starbucks. So
that's $12 a year, folks.
I know.
I think hopefully you can afford that. If you can't, keep it to yourself.
And if you really like what we're doing, show us some support. Give us some feedback. We got some feedback from Catherine from the last episode.
Yeah. No,
give us one.
We love feedback, and we'll always read every comments and stuff that we get, because we want to make the show as great as possible.
Absolutely, yes, we do. I mean, and we'd love to take this further and really be able to, I don't know, to spend more time on this than we are now, because you know it's really minimal the amount of time that we spend on this, but we still do our best.
Don't say that.
Well, I mean,
it's not minimal. I mean, we read books.
Okay,
do all this
not
research
minimal.
on
I
the
guess I put
side.
that wrong. Yeah. Well, it's a side job in a way, right?
Yes, it's
we still
definitely
put a
side
lot of
job.
work into it.
Yeah.
It does take a lot of work preparing for it, setting it up, getting the content, recording it, editing it, uploading it, sharing it. So yes, I don't want to say it's not a lot of work. All I'm saying is if we had more time, there'll be a lot more. Maybe we could do clips. We can, snip different clips and share those, stuff like that. I mean, like,
Definitely.
Yeah.
And we have to wake up in the mornings. Some of us do it better than others.
Yes. And sometimes in the morning, sometimes at noon, wake up,
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, we want to thank you all so much for listening to the Uncovering Anomalies podcast. This has been a really fun episode. That's Adam. I am Topher. Adam, do you want to talk about our sponsor a little bit?
Yeah, so our sponsor every week is Caneba, which means cannabis, it means hemp in ancient Aramaic, not cannabis, hemp. Very different, two different plants there.
Very much.
Yeah, it's a legal hemp marketplace. You can get CBD there, Delta 8, Delta 9, CBN, all different type of cannabinoids mixed into different potions for different effects. Like CBN helps you sleep, so there's CBD, CBN, which helps you sleep. Then if you want to, if you want hallucinogenics, is D9 is there, which is also federally legal, and Delta 8, which is another, I guess, sister cannabinoid of Delta 9, just without the grogginess and too much of the paranoia. So that gets shipped out to most states, that haven't explicitly made it illegal. But yeah, they're our sponsors, so give them a visit at QINNEBA.com. And definitely help them out, and it helps out the show also. Follow us on Twitter at UAP the podcast. Follow us there, interact with us. We're happy to interact with our followers and let us know your feedback there.
Definitely. You can even say the most rudest stuff to us, and we'll still respond.
We'll take it. We will take it. No
Absolutely.
worries.
We got thick skin.
We do. We've developed thick skin over this.
Yeah.
And that's all I got from my end.
All right, great. Well, thank you all so much for listening. Again, this has been the UAP podcast. Even though when I say that, I'm repeating because P stands for podcast. Also, I mentioned this earlier to you in the week. There are so many UAP podcasts that use the UAP.
I know
acronym. It's ridiculous.
I noticed. Well, I guess it is. I mean, that's what competition is, right? And
yeah, of course.
I mean, unless you get a trademark, you can't really do anything, and hard to trademark that. So
yeah.
But I mean, is it easy to find us when you put in the search?
Well, I've never had to search because I'm subscribed.
Right. That's right. All right.
Yeah. All right. Well, we will see you all next week, and thank you so much for joining us.
Yeah. See you all next week.